See you later, man. Good games.
That was Spider Slayer coming up and wishing us luck in the remainder of the casting. In the top left, we have our blue Terran player, dfraz.
And in the bottom right, we've got the red Protoss. His name is ACzDC.
The one single name that we've been having crazy trouble with this entire tournament, and he keeps moving forward, he keeps playing well. He's a pleasure to have on an interview, but gosh, can we not pronounce his name?
So this will be one of the, we haven't had two, this is our first TVP, correct?
All these things blur together in my mind.
We've had lots of PvPs, lots of TVTs, and our one Zerg player that was remaining got a couple games in. But I believe this is our first PVT of the tournament. So we'll be seeing what comes out of this. Looks like ACzDC is going to be sending out a really early probe to do some scouting. I think he sent that out right after his initial pylon was made, chrono boosting out some probes. And dfraz is waiting on 150 minerals to put down his barracks, which he does now. I'm trying to remember, is dfraz the... did he go heavily mech or bio in his previous game?
I believe he did bio last time.
Probe is getting stuck here a little bit.
Yeah, trying to do some harass on that SCV, and the SCV pops out so he gets a couple hits in. A friendly SCV comes down to shoo him away.
He did actually stop construction there for a second to pull that away. Looks like he's going to come around and do some gas scouting. Sees one geyser going down. Nice attack move rally after he sees that geyser. He's going to come down and try and just get out, it looks like. Maybe prevent that second supply depot from going down. But no, he's going to put a little bit more harassment on that SCV. If he keeps a couple more hits in, he can take that down. Prevents the building of that barracks. Going to delay it by a minute or so while he gets his gateway down, which is going to be just finishing up here in a second.
And they're doing a lovely little waltz of trying to build and not to die.
Does get that barracks finished, gets the supply depot started, so the probe is going to be trapped in there. The SCV does not have a whole lot of life left, so he's just going to hang out, and it's going to really prevent that supply depot from going on because he doesn't want to take any more hits on that SCV.
But he's got that Reaper coming out, so he's just going to wait for that to finish and maybe pick off. Oh, well, now that he's walked away.
It's like one gas down for AC. He's got his gateway going with a Zealot coming out. Cybercore going down, second gas. I personally feel like the Stargate Oracle play is never a bad idea against early Terran, just because the early Marines are going to be not very good against those Oracles unless they have high numbers. Probe trying to do a little bit more harass doesn't get much done. Reaper takes it out. So
and immediately a reactor goes down on that barracks.
Warp gate in chrono boosted production for Protoss. Double gas, waiting to see what is going to be his tech of choice coming out.
dfraz is blocking the natural of ACdC with an engineering bay. He's going to build it to almost completion and then walk away, but that Zealot may pick off that SCV, sure does, and he's just going to whack away at that engineering bay, which will get canceled before it dies, most likely.
It doesn't look like Protoss ACdC was really planning on doing a super quick expand, so it's probably not going to impact him too much. That Reaper gets taken out easily by that Stalker.
And there goes the cancel on that engineering bay.
It's like SCV coming around down here, maybe do a little bit of pylon scouting, make sure there's no proxy pylons going down. Looks like I was actually incorrect once again. ACdC is going for that Nexus expand. Staying on one gateway, chrono boosting the heck out of it though, as he wants to get as many units out as he can on that single gateway.
You see a factory finishing and immediately starting to produce a Widow Mine, and right next to it is a command center going down for dfraz.
dfraz. Is it dfraz?
It's dfraz.
Ooh. dfraz. Let's update that. Is producing Marine suit of time out of that reactor, so it looks like he's trying to be a bit defensive. That mothership core is going to come across the center to do a little bit of poking and see what's going on. SCV Scout finds that expansion going down. Stalker and Zealot clean that up fairly easily.
Feels vindicated that he spent the time building that engineering bay.
It does. This is, I believe, the first time this tournament also we've seen a robo going down after the Cybercore, so we're going to have some robotics play. Not my favorite anymore against Terran. I feel like the Colossus and Immortals are just a little more easily countered. That mothership core is getting dangerously close. Looks like he's got it rallied right over that mine.
It's going to take a shot.
Not quite take it out though, because the mothership core can withstand that. Now, if we
But here come the Marines. Can he get out before those Marines get around there? They're smartly trying to avoid the time warp, and that's giving the mothership core enough time to get a little bit out, but it looks like it's going to get picked off because the map just is not that long, and he's going to have to rebuild that.
Those Marines easily take that out. The time warp does slow down the mining, but it doesn't make a huge difference, but it is certainly a factor.
We see 2 observers queued up in the robotics facility. We'll see if, what he plans on doing with those.
Probably just wants to get some good scouting out. I find
we do have a Widow Mine drop coming down the left side of the map.
I find in PvT the best way that I can keep up. I feel much better defensively, and keeping those observers out and active really helps you to be able to anticipate what's coming. Looks like he's boosting that medevac around to the right to see what he can do with these 2 mines. Looking at the back of his base, he doesn't have a whole lot back here, just now putting it on the forge. That observer is coming in though, so he will be able to detect the burrowed mines, but they still may be able to get a couple shots off if he doesn't pull his probes away quick enough. Looks like those shots are going to come off. The probes are still there, and
wow, they got him out of there just in time. I did,
and 1 kill.
Heyo. He's chrono boosting the 1 mine to the other base, which will be met by some tickle cannons, and he's just going to run that around. Gets
there is no observer there though,
and Stalker gets bit.
Cannon just finishes, and that'll clean up that mine.
You did notice that ACdC did attempt to pull his probes and attack the Widow Mine. According to Reddit, that you cannot do enough DPS with the full surround on workers to kill a Widow Mine before it burrows. So that is usually not a good idea.
Looks like ACdC is going for some early upgrades. We've seen a big lack of upgrades this weekend so far out of Protoss. It's interesting to see him working that in so that he can try and get the leg up on his Terran opponent. Looks like an idle starport. A couple barracks with a couple Marines queued up, it looks like. Marauder out of the tech lab. Stim and +1 attack going down, as well as concussive shell.
You just see a Dark Shrine going down?
Dark Shrine is going down. Anytime Dark Shrine, my friend.
Anytime.
I feel like this is a little bit weaker of a play against Terran these days, though, because obviously he's got 3 orbital commands, so as long as he's not super on his mule drops, which it looks like he is because he just dropped 4 there, there's always a scan. Plus, I think he senses the DTs in the air because he's putting up a turret at the front.
It's possible he's just trying to chase away that observer, too.
It is possible, but that observer being there is definitely not helping ACzDC at the moment. Pylon going up probably to warp in those DTs.
Mm-hmm. See medevacs being boosted out. They're going to go in for a drop on that natural. Factory scouting around, just trying to see if it can find any pylons, but going in the wrong direction.
We do have an observer here, but these medevacs are keenly going out of view of it. We'll see when he decides to turn around, if he's going to skirt that observer's vision or not. There is a scouting factory moving out. Looks like he's all done using that factory.
For now, at least. He may land it near ACdC's base and produce a little harass unit out of it.
ACdC putting down 2 gateways in the back of his natural as that drop comes in. His army is a little bit out of position as it's at the ramp between his main and his natural. This drop is going to boost in and drop right in the gas line of the probes, and looks like he's going to lose a significant number. Is he just going to pick right up and get out with only the loss of 1 Marine, it looks like?
It looks like there's 2 that got left behind.
Indeed there is. 100 minerals lost for 9 workers killed. It's a pretty good trade. The probe is coming down the left. It's going to possibly see these medevacs. Looks like he just missed him. He's going to be putting down a pylon, though, as this factory is just out of vision of it. Does have 2 pylons down now for warp-ins. So those medevacs return home, deciding they do not need to put on any more pressure. Here's a little bit of weakness here. Could easily do a drop and take out this gas geyser, which would put a hindrance on the DTs and the upgrades, that's for sure.
Protoss does have 1-1 finished on ground. concussive shells, stim, and infantry weapons for Terran, and that looks like he's ready to move out with that.
Archon's coming in for Protoss as well as Speed Zealots, so it looks like Protoss is going to be going for a largely Speed Zealot Archon army eventually. Got 2 Archons at the moment, lots of Zealots, a single Immortal, couple Sentries, no Mothership Core with his army. As they engage up here, it looks like the Terran's going to have the advantage. He stims half of his army, not the whole army. A couple force fields go down to zone that Terran army from retreating. A couple more. It looks like Protoss is not going to have enough units to hold this, as he's going to be pushed back.
Yeah, unfortunately, ACdC just kind of walked into dfraz when he was standing there. His whole army was clumped up, and ACdC was walking up a little bit piecemeal, so it was a lot easier for some of those units to get picked off, and now we're seeing the Archons fall, the target fire of those, and now going straight for the Nexus.
This looks like it could be a killing move from dfraz, as this is a pretty potent army with the upgrades he has. Photon Overcharge just isn't enough to deal with these medevacs. A single Zealot there trying to whack away at the Marines as that base goes down. All these probes are going to walk to their death as they go right through their army. And that's the GG from ACdC, a pretty quick PVT.
That's right. Yep. And that's the power of that bio army. You know, he was getting those upgrades, and he decided on a timing push. He had just finished his combat or his shield level 1 upgrade, and so he had 1/1 concussive shells and stim, and he just decided that was the time that he wanted to move in.
I personally feel like that was a weaker game on the Protoss side because it felt like a Wings of Liberty play. There wasn't a lot of Mothership Core action. Really the only thing the Mothership Core did is the time warp on the SCVs in the beginning and the Photon Overcharge at the natural, which wasn't really a huge factor. And going with the Robo Tech, it's, you know, I would consider it a bit of an old school play, not a bad play necessarily. He did get the upgrades. He's going for the Immortals. He really needed, if he was going to go that route, High Templar with Storm and the Colossus to make that a very potent army. Those Zealots and Archons in low numbers just aren't going to stand up to a huge Marine Marauder medevac army.
Well, that was the game that we did see Terran utilizing that medevac boost and using some drops and trying to get some kills that way, and did slow down Protoss' economy a little bit, especially when he drops right into the gas line, focuses down the gas, and just slows down the tech.
The nice thing was that he poked with that drop, but he didn't really commit to it and lose focus of his main goal, which appeared to be upgrades, lots of units, and lots of medevacs, which really helped that push. I feel like he could have swung around the other side maybe, but maybe he felt like he didn't have the APM to do it or was focusing on other things, but I felt like there was an opening on the right side of the Protoss base. But he definitely did a good job of expanding behind that. He put down his 3rd base shortly after that push.